I'll just give you a small introduction about our CEO and founder, and then I would pass it on to him, where he would give you a large eye-opener session. So a bit about Mr. Frank is he's got over 15 years of industry experience within the data analytics industry. He's spent about 12 years in the banking and insurance sector, with over 3 years in senior level client service management in software consultancy. And he's worked with a range of household names: Barclays Bank, ClickFox, O2, Riaz Insurance, Experience. He's a certified Oracle database administrator, an IBM analytics professional, and he speaks in major conferences for IBM and data governance forums around the world. So most of the time, if you've been attending different types of data forums, you might have come across his speeches, because he travels around the world, shares his insights, shares his knowledge, and someone who's been mentored by him over the last 3 years. I personally know the passion he has for the industry, and the next maybe 30-40 minutes where he's going to speak and give you an overview, I would say everyone to be completely focused, because the overall understanding on why data is growing and how it has helped organizations grow, and his personal journey, it would help all of us, get a better understanding and how we could progress into a career within analytics. So, Mr. Frank, whenever you're ready, I'll be happy to pass it on to you.
Right. Thank you very much, Fauzan. Just confirm that you can hear me nice and clear.
Yes, we're able to hear you. I'll just stop sharing my screen also.
Very good. Very good. All right. Thank you very much, everyone who's taking the time to join us. I think you need to enable me to be able to share my screen, whoever the organizer is. I'm sure once Fauzan stops sharing, then I will be able to share. So what I want to thank everyone who's taking the time to join us today. I'm not sure what your Saturday normally is like. I know for my Saturday at this time, I'm usually in a tennis tournament or going from one end of the UK to the next. So taking the time out at this moment to focus on career development, I think that's very commendable. It tells a lot about who you are and the interest you take in change and the industry. So well done. So I'll encourage that in the next 30 minutes or so that I will be speaking to you, that you stay heavily focused as much as you can. Fauzan's already done an amazing job introducing us a little bit to the marketplace. So thank you very much, Fauzan, for doing that. I really appreciate the passion that you bring to the marketplace as well. For me, just briefly, I've been in the data industry for a while, for more than a decade. And in that time, apart from all the other things that I've done with my career and life, it is really more of the thousands of consultants and analysts and engineers who have been mentored over the years, who have now become leaders for major organizations, for Barclays, for Cancer Research UK, for Booking.com, for Hotels.com, for O2, for pretty much major, I would probably say 25% of the FTSE 500 companies in the UK has had my impact in one way or another, either through the people that we mentor who lead technology, innovation and development and growth within those large corporations, or the direct impact that we have in the corporations themselves as an organization, as Pairview, as Starkwise, or as a group, with the expertise that we bring to market and the amazing work that we do side by side with IBM and Microsoft, and more recently Lumen, Section IO, and all the other partners that we work with around the world. All right, so I really hope for your sake that the next half hour or so is incredibly beneficial for you and you can find yourself in it. I can't assume that everything I say will apply to everyone here equally, because some of you are unemployed and you need to get ahead, you need to get off from where you are and really chart a course for yourself. Some of you are employed, you're doing really well already, but you know that there is not much else that you can do with where you are, right? You are beholden to the organization that employs you. If you left that job today, you're stuck, and you don't have remarketable skills that are in high enough demand for you to command either the salary that you're on or to take yourself further to the next stage. And then some of you are probably somewhere in the middle, right? So you're not unemployed, but you couldn't call what your current employment, you couldn't call it an employment because it just isn't worth it. All right. So hopefully for all the various categories, or maybe you're here just as an observer to learn or pick an information, take something away, to go do whatever else you want with. Well, this conference, if I can call it that, is free, so you can learn as much as possible. My job here this afternoon is to look for the most passionate of you, who is really hungry for change, who is determined to find out and to learn what is evolving, what is changing, what is driving market, what are some people doing that make them so incredibly successful, but you yourself are not able to find your way around doing it or becoming successful or are successful in it. So I'm hoping that we will be able to get you to a good place on that today. So Fozan's already introduced us. So I will talk a little bit about what we do, which I believe we said already. The first part of what we do is really data technology landscape consultancy. So any company in the world, we can solve problems relating to data for, whether it's a Guinness or a US government or a retailer, or you know, pretty much right across the bandwidth. We provide data technology consultancy, anything that brings intelligence and insight to an organization using data and technology and AI. That is exactly what we do. The other huge focus for our organization is really helping to develop talent for the tech market, and hone that talent so that by the time they come through our conveyor belt of development, they have the capabilities, they have the tools, they have the knowledge, they have the experience to do a job from day one. All right. So that's pretty much what we do. So we're spreading around the world quite rapidly. We've been in Southampton since 2009. We're in Portsmouth 2019, in Lagos 2017, in Toronto 2020. So right across the world, we're spreading very rapidly, and we've had really steadfast partnership with the likes of IBM and Microsoft and many other technology vendor providers around the world who have incredible faith in what we do and how we do what we do. All right. So these are some of the results, incredible results that we've achieved. Many organizations who benefit from us, from our decades-long experience and our depth of knowledge and experience in the marketplace and for what we do. The thousands and thousands and thousands of delegates who benefit from what we do. So people who come into events like this, they listen to either myself speak or a Fozan or a Jumoke or a Barry, or listen to any of our engineers or specialists or experts speak, and they make their mind and decision that they want to build a career along the path of our own expertise. So based on what we've done and what we've achieved and our incredible network around the world and the depth of our technology experience, they decide to build their own career after our own experience. Thousands and thousands and thousands of those types of people have been incredibly successful. I've been told that there's one of them here today. Every time we have this conference, there are different testimonials who show up just to share the experience. Some of them share their gratitude, especially people who come out of nothing. Maybe they were working they were cashiering in the bank, or they were going from one client to the other, doing account management for banks, but paying peanut, or they're stressed out of life and they don't like what they do, and they want something that is incredibly rewarding, and they've built their career of our own expertise. So very many of those people around the world, and we're incredibly proud of their achievement. It's not just because of us. We only bring the expertise and the experience and the network and the connection to the market, but you bring the determination and the hunger and the desire. You source the money, you source the time, you make the personal investment and sacrifices to ensure that you are successful. So my heart and my respect goes out to the tens of thousands of people who we have developed over the years. All right, here are just some of the very few, some of the companies that our people work in or what we provide services to. Okay, so now what I would say as I share this with us is that the thing is times are changing really, really quickly, you know, and I'm sure many of us can see it, we can feel it. If you work in an organization, you will hear the word either disruption or transformation or digital thrown around quite a lot across the organization. That's because either the business is right already in the middle of changing the platform through which they deliver their service, or the technology upon which that platform is built, or they are revamping their business model to be more agile, quicker, smarter, or they're trying to reach customers beyond the borders from where they operate, and they're employing technologies to do it. The reality is that we're living in a fast changing times, so that classic business as you knew them, right? Classic operation, classic way of doing things, classic business models as you knew them are rapidly being disrupted from every corner. I don't have to go into examples of whether Netflix or Uber or any of those. Many of you already see that. You see the disruption, especially for those of you who are probably similar to my age. Maybe you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s. You will understand. You would be probably right in the middle of that shift. And there are now new and smarter ways of doing all things. So we must understand that, and that is the whole fulcrum or the core of the things that we talk about today. Because you and I, whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not, you are right in the middle of change. It is why either you are being a victim of that change, or you are benefiting from that change, or you are a driver of that change. So, but somehow you are on one end or the other of that change. But unfortunately, very many slow to hang on to drive individuals find themselves at the negative end of that change spectrum. And because the change is so broad, sometimes we don't see it until it's too late. We don't see it unraveling our careers, especially those you might have been in the payment industry or a transportation industry or a banking sector or a retail sector or wherever you may have been. You know, these things it's not a switch of a button, it's a seismic grand change that is happening at rapid pace at a cosmic level, that because you're inside of that bubble of that change, you may not understand how much impact that change has on you. But whether you like it or not, you are being affected or disrupted or in one way or another impacted by that change. We're right in the middle of the change. So this slide, many of you may have seen it many times, but the reality is that it is not a coincidence or an accident that right now everyone's talking about artificial intelligence or AI or AI or AI or AI all over the place. But the reality is that this very slide that you see here, I have used it for the last 5 years or longer. So this change has been rapid, it's been moving. There are things that we said about 12 years ago that have now passed and happened, and we've deleted those slides. We've changed exactly what, because everything and every time that we have spoken about rapid, emerging, evolving change, we have seen them come to pass under our own eyes. Okay, and the people who use our service validate those things that we say. And today we're saying exactly the same thing as we look forward to what will happen in the next 3 years, what will happen in the next 5 years. But my question to you is, how are you positioning yourself for the change that is coming, or the change that is happening under your feet as you're standing or sitting or wherever you are at this time listening to this presentation? So the reality is that the change is right in front of us. Many of us who are too young to have seen this type of telephones, you know, but perhaps a lot of you are here right now using this type of phones. And in a very short period of time, if some of you are not already gaming, you're already gaming with maybe a virtual reality, or you go into cinemas and you're all wearing virtual reality goggles, or instead of traveling to China to see the Great Wall, you're in your virtual reality goggle and you are experiencing that Great Wall experience. So that's a change. The reality is that in just 5 years from now, folks, more than 75% of S&P 500 businesses will be companies you have not yet heard of. And there will be companies that are bigger than Google and Microsoft combined. There will be companies that evolve so rapidly that we don't know how they emerge and how they evolve, but somehow we are affected by the things that they do. So this is the reality of today. There is a rapid change underneath our feet, and every single person needs to think about, how does this affect me? What role can I play in it? How can I benefit from it? And so on and so forth. Because as it presents risk to certain careers, it also presents opportunities to other types of careers. So many of us have seen this type of things where, not very long ago, the biggest, most capitalized organizations in the world were the likes of ExxonMobil. If you worked in Shell, you were probably the king of the jungle, right? Today, if you worked in Shell, you're just as good as someone working in Tesco's. It's really no big deal, because that industry has been disrupted away and away and away and away. And today, the likes of Shell and BP are are looking for ways to invest in the evolving change of electric vehicles, because they can understand that the things that drove their market capitalization for many, many decades is disappearing before their eyes. And today we're seeing a whole host of new type of companies, the likes of Data Robot, the likes of Datadog, the likes of Lumen, and all those types of companies who are becoming disruptive, the like of Cloudflare, the likes of Net, and so on and so forth. And these are companies that many of you on this call may not even have heard of, but we're talking companies in many, many multi-billion market capitalization around the world. All right, so times are changing fast, faster than any one of you might have imagined. So the reality is that as times change and things change, the reality is the problem is the same, right? We're solving exactly the same problem, but we're using new approaches. So if you studied accounting, we still have accounting problems, but we have new ways of doing accounting. If you studied mechanical engineering, we still have mechanical engineering problems. We just have new ways of solving mechanical engineering problems. So we take all of the problems, organizational problems around the world or historically, and we group them into 5 different classes. One of those classes will be competitive, and then you have operational, organizational, financial, and governance. If you take every kind of problem that a business can face, a problem that a government to some extent can face, and you can put all of that into these 5 different segments. If you work in marketing, customer experience, or sales, and all of those types of things, you work in a competitive, you help an organization be more competitive. Or you can work in an operational, if you work in the back office, in packaging, in customer care, those types of areas, anything to do with helping customers get a better experience in order for them to stay within the company. Those are operational. And then, of course, you have organizational problems, which is some of you have studied HR, and those types of roles that require organizational design or allow the organization to structure in a way that supports its strategy optimally. Those are organizational. And then, of course, you have financial and governance. So those of you who have studied corporate law and all those type of things. So you can take all of the problems that we have around the world or within businesses, and you take them, put them into 5 places. Historically, this is how we used to solve them. Very classic. The first is somebody thinks about this problem. The next is we do some research, we do some evaluation, and then we deploy. Sometimes we even skip the middle part. If you're powerful enough, the guy who has the intuition, within a snap of a finger, the decision is already there, and we're already rolling out. There is not a lot of analytics or evaluation. But today, we're trying to solve exactly the same problem. This is how we will solve them. We'll go through a process of designing a hypothesis. We'll frame those hypotheses into analytical problems. We'll create issue trees. We'll build analytical tools. We'll create a test of hypothesis. We'll build systems for it, and then we deploy. It's a very, very different approach to solving exactly the same problems. So problems are the same, but the approach is becoming different. The reality is that change only benefits those who are willing to bear the pain of change. Right? As we're going through this process of transformation, we'll find that a lot of people who were doing well 10 years ago are not doing well today. Doing well 15 years ago are not doing well today. Because not only, and a number of organizations, large number of organizations who have gone under. I've lived in the UK for more than 15 years, and there are a lot of organizations that I met here on the high street and byways and everywhere you can think about. And a lot of those companies, I'm sure the likes of Fosun and probably Shivani, didn't meet those companies. I'm talking about some of my colleagues who probably came to the UK a little bit later than I did. right? So it's exactly the same thing. There's some of you who were really successful in your career years ago. Today, and those years when you were really successful, maybe you were in architecture, maybe you were in pharmacy, maybe you were in accounting, maybe you did bookkeeping, you know, whatever it is that you did. And in those days, or you did ACCA and you came out, or you did CIPM and you came out. And in those days, as soon as you got that certificate out, every company wanted to talk to you. Interviews were lined up for you. You know, the salaries were great, you know, and every company was investing in that area. Some of you may remember Prince 2 in project management. So these were huge opportunities at those times. But as times change, friends, you must change with it. But how can you change in something that you don't understand? Before you can change, you must get informed. You must understand exactly what is the dynamic of the economics climate, what is changing within the job market, and how can I adapt to that? So this is the reality. So only those who fail to change suffer the effect of change. That's the truth. And we have seen that many times. You know, I can't count the number of times I've spoken to hundreds of people like you today, where a few of you make a decision to take a step forward, and the rest of you decided, no, it's probably too expensive, I can't take the step forward. And it turned out that what you didn't spend to develop yourself 10 years ago, you basically wore yourself out and spent it in wasted time. So by the time you came back to try to do the same thing, times have changed. The cost of it is different. Market is moved. So the ability to act on the information that you receive and find a way to challenge yourself, to apply yourself in that dimension, the better for you. Because the reality is that every one of us, we know how important career is. Nobody studied career in the university. You studied a course, that's what you did. You came out of the university and realized that the course you studied in university is irrelevant. You know, you couldn't apply it. And people only employed you because you made a 2-1, or you made a first class, or maybe you made a 2-2, or for other personality traits that you had. Not for deployable, dependable skill that they can take straight out of university and plug you right into a workplace. All right, so friends, your career is your personal responsibility that you must take personal accountability for and challenge yourself to make the necessary investment and change that it takes for you to benefit from what is going on the market. All right, there are tools that I call the agents of change in technology, right? And if you think about all of those various aspects of change that we talk about, now over the last 5 years, 10 years or so at most, we have seen an explosion in the various aspects of technology landscape, even the phase of technology. We've always known technology is great, but the technology and how we knew it 20 years ago is not the technology in terms of how we know it today. So if you were doing IT, let's say you went to NIT like 15 years ago or 10 years ago, or perhaps even what NIT is doing today, but it's built on generational technology or classic or legacy technology, and you bring this technology to market, you will find that you are irrelevant. It is not useful. So technology tools that are making dramatic change on the market and dramatic impact on the market today, I can class them into 5 key categories. One of those, and the biggest driver of them all, is data. The second one is cloud. Cloud has completely transformed storage. And the third one, of course, is security. Many of us are aware of cybersecurity. The third is agility, which is pretty much not a tool, but a framework. And then the final one, of course, is automation. There are sub-technology capabilities that I would put underneath each of this. So when you're thinking about all the tools for change, and we're thinking about all the various things that we can see, maybe self-driving cars, or autonomous hospitals, or autonomous manufacturing plant. That's a pharmaceutical plant in which there's nobody operating those machines and the drugs are manufactured away, or a customer experience, or a new way of shopping. You go into a Tesco's, or you go into a Burberry, and your shopping experience looks exactly like this. Sometimes you ask yourself, where are the people who used to show me around and show me about that dress and show me that handbag, and so on and so forth. So all of the various technologies that you will see are driven by these 5 technology scape. There are a few more, but you can narrow all of those into these key spaces. All right, so travel, food, manufacturing, healthcare, supply chain, and customer service, and all of those aspects of things that we would normally use. So these tools are helping to create innovation and new capability. It's not just innovation for innovation's sake. It's innovation that you can use. So many of us, we've seen over the last few years, payment systems have exploded around the world. We have Google Pay and Apple Pay and Stripe and Paystack and OPay and all of those payment infrastructure, purely because now we can generate huge amount of data, and we can interconnect that data, and we can build applications on top of that data. Now that application that we build on top of that, what the application that we're building on top of transactional data is what we're now calling a payment application. So it's really a disruptive force, and it's helping to create interconnected cities and telehealth. Many of us probably know teledoc, and a lot of transformation that is happening within healthcare, which is gradually disrupting the imbalance within the medical healthcare system, whether nursing assistants or doctors or surgeons or pharmacists, especially the pharmacy. For those of you who are pharmacists, I have great respect for you. You spend many years studying your health degree, but you need to understand what kind of change is happening in your marketplace, my friends. If you don't, it will come back and impact you in significant ways. But if you do right now, you will be very many steps ahead of your colleagues, even within the same. There's huge opportunity within health for technology. And then digital surveillance, edtech or education. Can you guys still hear me? Just let me know if you can hear me.
It's very clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
But it's broken. The sound is broken.
Oh, the battery for my earpiece started to go. All right, that's fine. Just make sure
we can hear you. Only that the volume is too low. That is very low.
Very good.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
How is the volume now?
It's perfect. Perfect.
Very good. Thank you. All right, please go on mute now if you are not on mute. So I was talking about the fact that we're not using technology for technology's sake. You know, we're using technology to drive innovation, right? Because of these 5 areas of technology, we're able to do this type of things. So any of you who understand how the technology ecosystem and the landscape of technology works, organizers, please make sure everyone is on mute, otherwise you're not doing your job. All right? All right. So those 5 areas of technology that we just talked about create any kind of innovation. You can digitize government, you can digitize education, you can change the landscape of how agriculture works, you can change marketing, you can change customer care, customer experience, you can change the way we manage our health and relationships and things like that. So technology is unraveling pretty much all aspects of life as we know it. And there are key spectrum and dimensions of those various technologies. So you don't need to be an expert in everything. You just need to pick your own onion and make sure if you know a bit of it, you know it well, and you get the breadth and the depth within that knowledge. And I've talked about what you say. We're using technology. Oh, good. All right, so we're using technology to disrupt various industry sectors, and we're solving incredible problems in financial services, like the way we manage risk. Risk management used to be the most complex aspect of banking and financial sector that really gave headaches to banks for years, and they've really struggled to figure that out. But technology has changed the way the risk management works, including consumer risk, and setting pricing and premium for the insurance sector, and managing risk for life and non-life insurance and those types of assets. You know, better marketing and customer segmentation, improving customer acquisition and growth, and all of those things. So everything a business wants to do right now, it needs to think about how technology does it, and it's already doing that. That is why the roles that are now growing on the market is very different from what we always knew. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this video, and I hope that it's very clear and everyone can listen, and I will jump right back and continue the conversation. Please take a listen.
If you're watching this, you're among the 3% of people that understand that the future of work is going to look very different from what it is now. So keep watching. Let's see where we're heading. It's also exciting, right? Siri will recognize your voice even if you're 5 meters away from your phone. That new chatbot feels totally real. Self-driving cars are no longer fiction. You can analyze your DNA. You tried flying that drone for the first time, and you're thinking of buying a smart speaker to make your life so much easier. A few years from now, and that's something like 3 years, not 30, artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, mass 3D print, biotechnology, chatbots, virtual reality, deep learning, drones, augmented reality, smart objects will all be deeply enrooted in our everyday lives, just like computers, phones, or electricity are for us today. Oh well, is this really going to happen? And if it does, you'll adapt when the time comes, right? Life is good. You love your job. You've been working for this established company for a few years. You're comfortable in your position. You know what you're good at. People like you. And that last presentation you gave got you some amazing reactions. You're safe with your company. In the meantime, you see an article or two speculating on the future of jobs. McKinsey published a report stating that 45% of all current tasks could be automated with present technology. The World Economic Forum estimates that 33% of jobs in 2020 don't even exist yet. But what do they know, right? You've got time. Oh look, the supermarket just introduced self-cashier machine. You're at the airport checking in luggage. What the heck happened to all the real people at the check-in desk? Gone, replaced by machines. But it's only the low-skilled jobs, right? Nope, think again. In 2012, there were 150,000 humans working on Wall Street. 3 years later, automation has cut that number down to 100,000. That's 1/3 gone. But it's only the mathematical and scientific jobs, right? Nope, think again. This Japanese insurance company, Fukuoka Mutual Life Insurance, is already replacing all its human insurance claim workers with an AI system that will handle customers more efficiently. See these articles? They're written by algorithms, and we can't tell the difference with human written content. Thinking of converting yourself to being an online poker player? Too late. There's an AI that can already beat humans at it. Those journalists, tax consultants, marketeers, technicians, knowledge workers, lawyers, even the person editing this video right now will to some extent have been impacted or automated by technology in a couple of years. So what have you been doing? Probably watching Netflix. And the problem is the machines don't wait. And the machines, they don't watch Netflix. So what are the forces at play here? Basically, there's 10 million developers out there using increasingly simple and cheap technology to build new products and services. Some as young as 12 are already coding the future. Even that safe company you work for is increasingly under outside threat. And it's not just the Google, Amazon, Facebooks, and Apples of the world that I'm talking about. There are now tens of thousands of startups out there eating away at all sorts of jobs. Now, are they creating many jobs in the process? Let's look at some stats. Travel a bunch of years back to when Kodak ruled the world of photography. They were worth $38 billion and employed 140,000 people. That's approximately $270,000 per employee.
Our people work with pride to make Kodak a creative and innovative company.
Fast forward to recent times, YouTube sold for $1.65 billion with a mere 65 employees. That's $25 million per employee. Instagram, which had 13 employees and was sold for $1 billion. That's $77 million per employee. WhatsApp sold for $19 billion with 55 employees. That's a staggering $345 million per employee. So how is this all possible? Technology has allowed the emergence of what we call exponential organizations. These are exponentially fast-growing companies that leverage technology and require less employees, but more tech-savvy ones.
You will find that we are technology optimists. We believe that technology is a major driver of change in the world.
And as software continues to eat up the world, more companies are trying to replicate these exponential companies, hire less people, but grow exponentially through technology. As this happens, job roles are slowly disappearing and being replaced by skill sets. Employers require you to know an ever-growing number of new and ever-changing fundamental skills in order to use the technologies they've implemented. Master the fundamentals and you can master the rest. A digital skills gap is growing for both mid-skill and high-skill level jobs. Before you know it, you've become irrelevant. But wait, what's this doomsday message? There's actually a way to leverage technology before it leverages you. And in fact, it's never been easier to do so. This might sound kind of corny, but it starts with the right state of mind. It starts with having a growth mindset, where you have the desire and the confidence that you can learn anything. Shift your thinking on how these technologies will rattle and mutate, but enrich your work life. Because yes, if you play your cards right, technology will make your work life and your life in general much, much better. The fact is that technology will actually remove boring, repetitive jobs from your way, but only if you understand the fundamentals.
All right. So for sake of time, I'm going to stop there for the time being. I think we listened to that video, we realized that the fundamental thing that everyone's talking about is the need to change, because the change is already happening right now. And companies are replacing jobs with skill set. Not very long ago, Gartner created a new product called the Talent Neuron. The Talent Neuron allows Gartner to create, or allows companies to create what is called a skill set matrix. That means a combination of technology skill set working together to deliver a certain product. All right, so that companies are thinking from the lenses of skill set rather than the headcount that they bring across the board. So I think any one of you, and if you're attending this webinar today, it means that there is something about you that is itching for change, that is hungry for growth. And the reality is that that's the first step. So if you've already got that step, I think you're miles ahead of people who are probably still in their duvet, under their bed right now, under their duvet right now, or they've gone to play football, or they've gone to run around, even though they saw this information, but you're here listening to me at this moment in time. So, but my only advice to you, just like I've said, across this country, the United Kingdom, over the last 15 years, where we've been traveling up and down the country and evangelizing around the change for technology and the tens of thousands of lives that we have changed in the process. And I'm saying exactly the same thing to you today. So if you believe that you can grow, there is no better company on the planet who can deliver that growth to you. Not Udemy, not Coursera, not Cloudera, none of those. We were way ahead of the market before those guys even jumped on the market. So our experience and the result that we have in this industry, not many other companies can boast of it. So if you trust us with your change mindset and desire for a new beginning in your career, you can't look back and say, I wish I had done something else, because the reality is that we are over invested in helping you succeed in the process. All right. Unfortunately, very many people are being left behind as the change is emerging. The truth is, when you're thinking about your career, you're thinking about the next step for you, there is something called the career equilibrium. The equilibrium balance is around about how you think about the number of jobs on the market relative to the number of people applying for that job. So if I put out an accounting role, and I advertise an accounting role today, sorry accountants if you're listening to me, I keep using you as an example because it's true. If I put an accounting role out there right now, in the next half an hour, I might have 20 applications already on my desk. I put out an admin role, I might have 100 applications already on my desk. But if I put a data engineering role out today, my first application may arrive in 2-3 weeks. And that person who may have applied is either maybe a wannabe, or perhaps someone who is already in a job and is looking for another job, is looking to change their job, either for family reasons or whatever reason. So it's a very, very big difference. So you ask yourself, if I left my role today, how easy would it be to replace me? That tells you where you are in the job equilibrium scale. All right, if you're very easy to replace, company is not going to be interested, whether you want to leave, you don't want to leave, you know. And the reality is that some of those companies, you are there while they bide their own time. They are waiting for time where they can cut down on the people with those types of repetitive tasks, and they can invest in machines who can do these things in an automated manner. So don't be in a position where, and the signs are there, you can always test this by looking at the balance between the number of jobs and the number of applicants that are out there on the market for every specific career path. And you can test your career against it. This is what Pairview does every single year, and we have done for the last decade. We calculate the number of jobs advertised in the United States, in the UK, across Europe, and more recently in Africa as well. Right, where we put out, we look out for key jobs that have the potential to grow. It has the exponential potential, even if it's not yet there. And we know that in 2 or 3 years or in a year or so, this job will overtake. Especially the salaries are a very good indicator, and the change every 6 months is a good indicator to know whether this is a career path that's likely to take off, and then what career paths are in decline. So make sure you are not caught in that crosshair of declining career paths, but meanwhile, there are huge emerging opportunities in other career paths that you have the ability to learn, but you just haven't got to it yet. So I'm glad that you're here today and you have the opportunity to do so. Now, I use accounting as a typical example. This is accounting job. When you're looking at the job ratio, the ratio of jobs to CV on the market since between 2005 and 2022. You can see the big peak, not just accounting. I think this is accounting with ACCA. If I put the whole of accounting, this graph might be worse, right? Since 2006 all the way through to 2022. Look at where the job was in 2006, the job market was in 2006, and look at where the job market is in 2022. Do companies need less accountants? Maybe not in terms of, they don't need less accounting, they just need less accounting overheads, all right? Because the technology and the capabilities are there for you to do things differently. And they need different type of accountant, an accountant that can do data analytics, an accountant that can have access to query their own database and write their own Python codes. That's the accountant that is primed for the future, right? And on the other hand, you look at other types of skill set, AI engineers. Between 2006 for data engineering and for AI engineer, we can say that only in 2016 or so did we see a huge takeoff in some of these career paths. Slowed down a little bit in 2020 because of the pandemic, but you can see the trajectory. You can also see the salary distribution of each of these roles. For data engineering, we can see top salary there can go over 170,000 pounds a year. Some of you can say maybe that's an outlier, but you can see it's well over 100,000, and you can do exactly the same for AI engineer. In reality, one of those areas that have become significantly strong is really data analytics, right? Data analytics is really changed the landscape for people, those who are looking for, to step into the career path that data offers. So data technology roles command 85% higher salary than the average market. And this is why we have incredibly successful people who have done our programs, who have worked with us, who have taken a career path or two. Every single one of them, 100% of everyone who complete the program succeed. They may succeed at different times, but 100%. We normally use about 92, 98%, but it will be impossible. So it's basically saying it's impossible for you to have very well mature skill set in all those technology landscape that I showed you earlier and be unemployed anywhere you are in the world. If you are in US, many of you don't exist. So companies are basically throwing money at you. If you're here in the UK, many of you don't exist. UK, we don't pay as much as the US, but you're still talking an average salary of 45, 60,000 pounds. But in the US, equivalent salary will be about $100,000. And many of those companies are prepared to hire you in your own home country, where a US company hiring you if you're based here in the UK, or a UK company hiring you if you're based out there in South Africa or in Nigeria, wherever you may be, and paying you in their currency, for wherever you're based. So we've been incredibly successful in developing individuals. Why do companies pay so much? The reality is that this is driven by demand and supply. For every 3 roles that are advertised in data technology, only a 1/3 eventually gets filled. Many of these roles are not filled. Only in recent times, we're seeing a lot of universities beginning to offer data analysts, MSc, data science, AI. We've been preaching about this for many, many, many years. So what we're asking you to do here is to basically learn with us as if you are learning on the job, to have the tools that you need, the skills, the experience to go to market, and on day one, you're ready to add value, and your first job is going to be a senior role. If master's degree is what you're after, then be my guest. I can't offer you a master's degree. That's not why we're here. Our job is to offer you a job and to get you to be successful in a career, not to add one more certificate to what you've already got. And many of you, perhaps you want to, your next step is to do a master's degree or a PhD or whatever, that's great. But don't count on that PhD or master's degree being your first step to becoming. Perhaps it will be your first step to learning how to become, but we don't take you through that long road. And our program is substantially cheaper than going to do that in the university. All right, so I don't blame the universities for jumping into this bandwagon. Some of these universities have only been doing data analytics or data science or AI in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years. We've been in this market for more than a decade, and we're leaders in the subject, so we do it better than the industry. All right, so now let me talk about how these technologies work. Now, as we think about every single thing, think about any technology disruptor, any product disruptor on the market, an Uber, Netflix,
a Siri, whoever you want to think about, or any medical AI, any AI surgeon, or whatever you can imagine. Every single one of those innovative development go through these 3 fundamental steps using those 5 technology spectrum that I've talked about. The first one is building the data infrastructure. This is the platform upon which data is collected. So if you think about a bank and you think of all of the ecosystem of the data collection of that bank, whether data coming from ATM or from POS or from the branch or from their machine or whatever CRM systems that they may use, their SAP systems they may use within the bank, the ability to collect all of that data and lay them on top of a platform and orchestrate that data in a way that you can use them is what you call infrastructure. Without that, you cannot build a Netflix. You cannot build a digital bank. You cannot build an OPay or PayStack. You can't do that. So the first and most fundamental thing is infrastructure. So anyone who develops a career in data infrastructure, you become a real engine for success for pretty much every major organization around the world. The key skills you're going to need is data, cloud, and security. Cybersecurity is a big area on its own, so it may not fit exactly. So you don't need to become a holistic cybersecurity engineer, but you would need to understand how to secure your data or how to secure your platform. So that's the first and most important thing. The next step forward, once you've been, if you want to be a data engineer, you don't have to do any, you don't have to become a data scientist or an AI engineer at the same time. You can just be an infrastructure engineer who understand how Kubernetes work and how Dockers work and how platform works and how a data lake works and all the infrastructure that allows you to collect, hold, manage, and secure your data within the cloud infrastructure. So that is the first fundamental building block of technology. So if you come from a business analyst background or a project management background or a process engineering background, or you studied engineering in university and you want to continue in an engineering field, becoming a data engineer would pay you a lot. A data engineer that is earning $100,000 is not well paid. So that is how good that industry, that market is. For those of you who believe that you can invest your knowledge, you can invest your ability and learn that skill, you have a huge opportunity for growth ahead of you. The next step on that is what you build on top of that infrastructure. What you can build is that you can become a data analyst. A data analyst is someone who pulls data from that infrastructure and provide insight and intelligence to the organization so they can make decisions. A data scientist is another person who can take the data from that infrastructure and is able to build predictive models or statistical models. For those of you who come from mathematical background, that is a huge area for you. If you went to school, you're here with me, you studied mathematics, statistics, or even maybe your school attempted to teach data science. If you come from any of those backgrounds and you're not pushing yourself in the area of data science, something big is missing, right? So that is a good area where you are already fundamentally primed to succeed in. The third part here is what I call industrialization, which is the process of federating your application. So you build application on top of your infrastructure or on top of your machine learning algorithms, and you can build AI systems. So you can build web application or a mobile application or a digital bank or an Uber. You can build any application that you want then on top of those infrastructure analytics and data science. So I've taken all of those 5 technology pillars and I've strung them into 3 career practice. All right, and from these 3 career practice, there are hundreds of career of roles or job roles or skill set that you can build out of all of this, including the tools that you would need to learn in order for you to do any of those career paths successfully. All right, so what we've done is taken some of the fastest growing and the highest paying aspect of this career paths. So you take what I've just shown you here, which is pretty much technology implementation in a nutshell, data technology implementation in a nutshell, application technology implementation in a nutshell. And I've broken them, and we've broken them into career paths. So this is how Pairview and StackWiser programs work. We take a job and we turn it into a career path. So our programs are basically like someone who You take someone straight out of school who knows absolutely nothing, but they're really, really smart. You put them in a job and get them to learn on that job. The only difference is that we are not a job, we're a program. So that program, we don't pay you, you pay us. You pay us to become a data scientist. And we give you all of the tools, we get your knowledge and your skill set and your competencies to a level that if you became a data scientist anywhere in the world, you will perform optimally. So even if a Microsoft employed you as their data scientist, you would do amazing job from day one without Microsoft needing to add additional training. So we provide you all of the tool training that you need, but there is no tool that makes anybody a data scientist. So you can learn Python from now till a billion, you're still not a data scientist. There are use cases and practice that enable you to be a data scientist. The work that you've done, the things that you can demonstrate, the skill set that you can show. So we take all of those paths and we create a career streamline out of them. So you can't become everything. So you choose one thing that you want to become. I want to be a data scientist because I have a mathematics background, I have a statistics background, I come from a STEM background, and I really like to engage with business. Or I want to become a data engineer. The moment you say you want to become a data engineer, everything that you need in order to become a data engineer, you leave to us. The only thing that we need you to do is to invest money and time and your own willingness to become it. So put yourself into it, immerse yourself into it, and at the end of the process, you will become a data engineer who is good enough for just about any company you can imagine anywhere in the world. And we will make sure that you are developed to the level that those companies are going to require at the end. This is what makes us different from universities, or different from a Udemy, or a Coursera, or a data camp, or any of those likes that you can imagine, or someone who might say, I want to learn some of these tools myself. You can't give yourself experience. So here you will build experience. Apart from the experience that you build with us, you get CV surgery at the end of it. We prepare all of the experience that you build through the projects that we give you, are baked back into your CV as experience. You are mentored and taught and shown how to demonstrate that experience in a workplace or in an interview room. By the time you get the job, we give you a reference for the skills and experience that you built over the course of the program. If you're here for longer, the better for you, because it gives you a longer period of being a data engineer while you're learning and working on projects with us. Or you want to be a DevOps engineer or an AI engineer, a data analyst, there are a few other programs that are coming up. The likes of full stack developer, the likes of cybersecurity, that will be part of the program by January 2023, or the likes of full stack and many other emerging programs like IoT engineering. So some of those emerging programs that we're still observing, they can join in. But for right now, these are some of the programs that you would be able to join either on the Pairview platforms or on the Starkwise side. And here are examples of the astronomical growth that we're seeing in this industry sector. Data scientists, 230 billion by 2026 is estimated to grow. So we're just at the very early stages of the development of this career paths. Data engineering, annual growth is growing at 33% every year and is ranked number 8 among the top 15 US jobs. So that's, of course, that is one of the hardest to learn as well, which is another reason. And pretty much every company that wants to transform digitally need data engineering. Remember, we talked about platform as the first foundational base for building anything that you choose to build. DevOps engineering, this is the future of project management for technology project. AI engineers, these are people who are going to build the robotics and so on. And then, of course, the data analysts. Data analysts are people who want to take the light road, right? You don't want to code too much. You don't want to, you don't believe that you are a technology person as such. So you just want to add technology to what you do. And you don't want, maybe you're a pharmacist, you don't want to leave pharmacy, you are an accountant, you don't want to leave accounting, you work in banking, you don't want to leave banking. Data analyst is a suitable, comfortable area to start a technology career without breaking your neck in the learning process. That's what data analysts do, because you can adapt that to HR. So that makes you a HR insight analyst, or finance, it makes you a finance analyst. So you can, data analyst is suitable for everyone who, they want to challenge themselves, but they don't really want to cause an earthquake to do it. We've given you the average salaries there, right there at the bottom. Data scientists, you can see what the average salary is. This is in the US and a little bit slightly lower in the UK. Data engineering, you can see where the band is. That salary is incredibly conservative for data engineering. DevOps engineering, you can see where it is as well. AI engineering and of course data analysts. We've used pounds there because the stats we have is from the UK. All right, so we put a few data flows there just to give you an idea of what these roles and what people who hold these jobs do. For a data scientist, you can see what they do here is working with an organization to identify problems. They're really exploring data within that data platform or data pipelines or data flow infrastructure. They're doing a lot of data prep and data wrangling and so on. They're building predictive models to predict outcomes. So whether it's for fraud detection or fault detection or customer experience leakages or whatever it is, you can use it to predict insurance pricing and insurance premium, so you can optimize premium against loss ratios and things like that. So these are some of the things that the data scientists do. You can see what the data engineering workflow is. This is overly simplistic in terms of what the framework of what these guys do. Also you can look at DevOps as well. You can see the flow of what a DevOps process, what that will look like. All right. So typically when you're coming on this program, we don't assume anything. We just want you to be determined, to have a lot of ambition and hunger to succeed and to make sure that you're not left behind in your career. So you don't need to worry about knowing any of this. Everything will be taught. The tools that you need, we will give you. If you're studying data engineering with us, we'll give you enough problems and projects to work on. You will have mentors working with you every single week until you are out of this place. By the time you leave here, you will be confident and be able to say, actually, I'm a data engineer or I'm a data scientist. You know what you're doing. You're solving problems. You're able to solve those problems quite comfortably. Now, I've talked about our programs across all the 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different programs. If you go on stackwiser.com, you'll be able to see a lot of those programs there on their own. On Pairview.com, you will also be able to see a lot of those programs there. Now, the way that you can take this program depends on you. It also depends on your purse, what you can do. The first and the easiest one of all is to do it all by yourself without our involvement, right? So that is a self-paced learning. You can go on the platform, select Stack Specialist and pay and start to learn. The difference between Stackwiser and all the other competitors is that it gives you everything that you need. It delivers everything I've just talked about here today, but you do them all on your own, but you only get live support when you have a problem. So that is your self-paced option. And then we have what we call the job mentoring program. What the job mentoring program is that it takes a combination of the resources that you have available on stackwiser.com, but also give you personalized experts. So you have experts that are working with you every single day. If you have a problem, they're going back and forth with you. They give you assignment, you present back to them. So you get the human feel to what you're doing. Between now and end of July, the price for that program is £1,595 or £590. You get the actual figure when you speak to your career consultant. This is a program that by the end of the offer period is £2,075. This program used to be £6,950, the job mentoring program. All right, and we are in that place where you have a real opportunity to be able to take advantage of the prices that are going right now. Finally, we have another product that we call the Job Offer Premium Guarantee. Now, we've offered the Job Offer Premium Guarantee since 2014. Job Offer Premium Guarantee is you do a program with us, you pay a lot of money. If you don't succeed, you get 100% of your money back. In 10 years, about 8 years that we've done Job Offer Premium Guarantee, 100% of people got jobs, 100%, every single one of them got jobs. So unfortunately, we didn't have to give money back. Where we give you money back, if you're not doing well on the program, you're not pulling yourself, you're really just not serious, we will drop you from the program. Job Offer Premium Guarantee, you have to take a test and pass the test. If you don't pass the test, you will not be admitted. So the Job Offer Premium Guarantee is pretty much another level of investment from you. If you are successful on the Job Offer Premium Guarantee, we also offer you work permits in the UK. to work for our client or to work for other recruitment partners or partners here in the UK. So we provide you certificate of sponsorship after you study. If you're on the job offer premium guarantee, you get opportunity to do that. Or even if you're in the UK and you're currently studying or whatever it is, or you need sponsorship in order to work, we will provide you that support in order for you to succeed. So you have a lot of options at your fingertips. 90% of people, for affordability reasons, go for job mentoring program. I will recommend it only because the job offer premium guarantee is expensive for the majority of people. But if you think you can afford it, you have the peace of mind of knowing you will get your money back if it didn't work. But we also have the peace of mind in knowing that 100% of the time it has always worked, because our approach is tested and tried, and it does the job all the time. So here are the benefit here for you. You get expert level knowledge in every field you choose. If you decide to be a data analyst, by the time you finish with us, job mentoring program, you have 6 months and you go 12 months and you go blah, blah, blah. Job offer guarantee, that runs for 1 year, and then we have 1 year of sponsorship period. And of course, self-paced, that doesn't really have a timeline. It's really up to you how quickly you want to learn and so on. So you can see that's as cheap as your burger. All right. But across all of these areas, what we deliver to you is expert level knowledge on any career path that you choose. The day you get your first job, you will be equivalent to someone who's been on the job for between 3 to 5 years for the experience that you gather on the program. So it's immersive, it's intense. When we wrote the master's degree program for South Bank University, and they compared our curriculum on SQL back in the day to their own curriculum, they covered their curriculum over a whole year in SQL. Let's just say, take that course for instance. When they looked at our course content, what we normally took in 4 to 6 months in SQL, the university will cover about 40 to 60% of that course content and spread it over the whole year of your master's program. So you might think that, oh, you pay £12,000 to learn data analytics in the university, but what you might be getting for a particular course is a small fraction compared to what you will do here. So here, your program will be exhaustive. You will learn what you need to learn. In some of the programs, it depends which one you go. If you go for job offer guarantee, you get a lot of certifications. If you go for job mentoring program, you get staff as a certificate, so you get a group certificate. And if you go for self-paced, you get course certificate, right? So apart from certificates that you get the confidence that come with you. Speak to any Pairview graduate over the last 10, 15 years, wherever they are today, the level of confidence that they exude by the time they finish is unbelievable. You will never get that, regardless of, after paying 12, 13, 14, 15,000 pounds to a UK-based university. The second benefit is that you have dependable competencies for senior level positions. So you will not come out of Pairview and get a junior role unless it's up to you. If there will be junior roles available, if that's what you want to apply for, you can apply for it. But typically, 70% of people who come out of our program, their first job is a mid to senior level role. Number 3, you are job ready from day one. So the day you complete your program and we give you your certificate and your CV and you pass that interview and you got onto your job, you sit on that desk, you will find that what we taught you and trained you on, it will take probably another 3 years in your role for you to need to use all of those skills all at once. All right. And then, of course, you have verifiable certificate. We will defend you for the rest of your career. All right. So that's exactly what it is. We're a very highly respected company here in the UK and pretty much everywhere we are. All right. Other benefits here is that you have what we call the Nano Project. This is available for job mentoring program, and job offer premium guarantee is not available for self-paced. You have the Nano Project. So it's a project that relates to every course. This project goes into your CV. I think if you understand the tricks of how to successfully get a job here in the UK, you know that the more stuff you've done, nobody cares about what you've learned or how many qualifications or degrees that you've piled up. The more things that you've done and you can demonstrate doing, the higher your price point. when you come to negotiating salary or the jobs that you're being offered. So those nano projects come incredibly handy during interviews and when you actually start to engage on the job. The other part there is that you have industry skilled work experience written on your CV. So this will be, apart from the nano project, you have an industry scale project experience that you work on as well, which is very large scale project. And then, of course, you have what we call the CV surgery. So you have all of these nano projects and major project and industry scale project written out on your CV in a way that is compelling. You will get your LinkedIn profile also updated. We'll basically clean you up and get you ready for the next chapter of your life. Your prep for interview. And of course, the other part of this is that you get work experience when you complete the program. You get months of on-the-job support. So when you finish and you get your first job, sometimes it may be daunting. Imagine you've come through Pairview and your first job is in Ernst & Young and you're looking at all of these people, you're thinking, I've only come from a training program, but these guys have been working here for 3 years. How do I fit? And maybe because of the experience that you bring from what you've done, they've offered you a good role, and therefore the pressure of performing on that role dawns on you, regardless of how daunting that environment might be for you. So we will be there with you to provide you on-the-job support. So if you're given challenging tasks on the role in the first few months, you will always have a mentor within Pairview who you can come back to and we'll work with you through it. For job mentoring program is 1 month, for job offer guarantee is 3 months. So if after the 1 month of the job mentoring program you still need it, hardly do more people need it, but if you still need it, then it becomes charged as an extra charge. And of course, job guarantee and work permits are only for the premium guarantee program. So if you want to work in the UK, you're based outside of the UK, then the job offer premium guarantee works for you as a product. All right, so I think that's where I'm going to stop today. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you have found this presentation beneficial. So thank you very much for your time. I will now hand back over to Fauzan or Jumoko, any of the organizers. Shivani, are you here?
Hi, Frank. The entire team is on board. Thank you so much, Frank, for the lovely insights. What we could ideally do now is maybe we could have Sean come in and share a bit of his insights, and then we could have a Q&A session where even if you're on the platform, it would be great for people to ask questions and get further insight.
One thing real quick, Fauzan, what I will ask people to do, there's a huge crowd here today. It's a good number of us, almost 100 people on the call. And just like I said before, we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different experience and different reasons for why we're here. If you think that this is the program for you and we are the right company to help you, there's a chat button there. I can already see 42 messages. I will go through some of them. Fauzan will help me coordinate. If you know you're interested in any of the programs, please put your number, your name and your number and your email address on a private chat. So Fauzan, can you tell us what name is on the private chat there? You can send it to Fauzan. There's BC there as well. I'm just trying to go through the names of the organizers. You may find it. Is there one for private? I don't want to share the telephone numbers to the whole group, but I also don't want you to miss out just because we couldn't get through to you in the midst of the multitude. Yes, go on.
So just one point to add is we are receiving a few messages in private. So I would just request everyone to send the message in private to the organizers. So any one of the organizer, and then we would pick it up and we would consolidate and we would get in touch with you right away. If you have a preferred time when you'd like to have a chat, do let us know. We are also available for chats today after the session. So you can just pop in your details and we'll take note and we'll get back immediately.
All right. Thank you, Fauzan. I will go through all of the questions, but if you know that this is for you, I will tell you not to hang about. Look out for the names that say organizers and put your name, your email address, and your telephone number. If you know the program that you're interested in, because I've given you enough information, please put it there. If you are not sure, you just want to share a little bit about your background and you want a career consultant to work with you to determine which program is right, and which, when I talk about program, I'm talking about whether data scientist, data engineering, and blah, blah, blah is right. Any of those programs you can do through self-paced or job mentoring or job guarantee. So you can use any of those products depending on where your purse lies. But send the message to the respective organizers. If you've been spoken to previously by any of the organizers as your consultant already, you already have a consultant, you can just go straight to your consultant and leave a message with them. So Fosun, if you go through any of the questions, I'll be happy to take those questions.
Absolutely. Just allow me a second.
Hello.
And once we're taking those questions, I'm told that there's a testimonial here who will share their experience as well. So I'll take the questions and then I will leave the stage for the testimonial to just share the experience here with us.
Yeah. So Frank, we have a question from Sophie where she's mentioned that she doesn't have any background in mathematics or statistics. She's done her degree in English language and wants to move into analytics. And she just wanted your general feedback on that and what's the ideal approach to go ahead with.
Okay, I think that's a very, very interesting question. I would normally answer this question in this way. It depends on what the reason was for going to study English language or languages, and you moved completely away from numbers. If it is for fear of numbers, it's a very different case from if it's for interest in languages. If it's for interest in languages, but you enjoyed mathematics, you enjoyed working with numbers before in your pre-university days, then there really isn't so much of a problem. I would say take a gentle ease into the ocean here, maybe starting with a data analyst or maybe tiptoe into data science maybe later. But if you have real genuine love for numbers, then nothing should stop you doing any of the programs. But I would probably say data engineering, AI, and DevOps is probably pushing it. Data analyst is probably a nice place, a little bit leaning towards data science. But if it's purely because you hated numbers, some of us just hate the sight of mathematics, right? If you are in that place, apart from data analysis, there's plenty of mathematics in all of the other programs, in AI, in DevOps, in engineering, in data science. But the way we teach it, we don't overwhelm you with the mathematics, because here we're not trying to, it's not about solving differentiations and integration. That's not what this is. This is really about solving business problems using algorithms. So we will really break it down for you, so you won't need to worry too much. But if you're worried about numbers, I would say get started with data analysts. There's a lot of graphs and charts and connecting data. I think you will find that easiest to climb through. So that answer that I just gave should apply to most people. If you have love for numbers, and I mean, if you, depending on the scale of 1 to 10, if I say, basic statistics, I'm not talking about Monte Carlo simulation here. I'm talking about basic statistics. If you understand and you love numbers to that extent, nothing should stop you from a data analyst or a data science. But if you have to come from a STEM background, you need to come from science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to want to do data engineering, but naturally you are data scientists. If you studied economics, economic statistics, actuary, technology, engineering, or any of those STEM courses, you can do data science and you will love it. All right? But if you did engineering, but you enjoy the engineering part, more than the design part, if you're that kind of person, data engineering could be good for you. Anyone from STEM can also do data engineering. The moment you're from STEM, you can do anything. But if you're not from STEM and you don't like numbers, please stick to data analysts. You will succeed in data analytics and you will do incredibly well as a data analyst. Anybody can do that. You don't need to come from STEM. That is a go-to for everybody. If you do very well as a data analyst, you can then move your career later on into AI, into DevOps, into engineering. Your career path, the future is just unbelievably bright. But where you start, for me, depends on where you think your capability is. But I want you to trust us. We've done this for tens of thousands of people over the years. some are lawyers, some historians, some archaeologists, some psychologists, you know, and we've been incredibly successful. So trust your career consultant as they advise you on this. Sorry, any other question that I've missed?
We also had a question, Frank, where they had asked how could they do our program alongside their existing master's program. An international student had asked about that. So if you could share insight on how it works as a part-time program alongside, that would be great, I believe.
I think it's a big task, because your master's program, I'm sure, is demanding. Pairview program is also immersive. It can be demanding, and I can assure you, apart from the things that you're writing and all the theses and all the 10,000 words, that I have nothing against universities. You know, I have my own masters and all the other things that I've done. I have nothing against them, but I've been on the two sides of the wall, so I can tell you very, very clearly. When you come out of your master's degree, it'll be great. You know, you wear those gowns. It's amazing. You take a lot of nice pictures. But once you come out of the open world, nobody cares, right? You care, but employers don't care. What they will care about is what skill set you have, you bring to. It doesn't matter whether your master's was in AI. It makes no difference to the employer, particularly to a great extent. If your first degree is in AI, it's kind of a slightly different case. But if it's a master's degree you just did in AI, it doesn't really matter as much to them. So the key for you is to ask yourself, when I graduate, what do I want to do? You know, how much more time do I want to waste or hang about before my first job comes along? So if you think you've got the work ethic, you've got the ability to balance it, it's possible to balance. It is possible, but it's tight. You know, but it's you know, I would say if you're doing a job mentoring program, you had a 12-month program and a job mentoring program, you will be in a good position by the time you're finishing your master's to demonstrate skill set and experience to show potential employers on the market, and then your master's degree makes sense when it's backed up with skills. Okay, so I would say don't wait around unless you have some time to burn, because I don't know when your master's degree finishes. So if you can combine them, it's great for you. You know, not everyone has the work ethic of steel, but if you think you've got that energy and you can do it. Some of you do master's degree program and you do 2 jobs at the same time. So you do master's program and you're doing your 20 hours of work. You are able to combine those two. So this is your future. So I would say if you can't find the time, if you genuinely can't, then wait. But if I was counseling my own a person that I can talk to in that intimate way, I would ask them to do the best they can to combine both. Wasn't any other question that you think I need to jump on?
So the chat is filled with a lot of questions, and I believe something to just highlight is we have colleagues on the platform who have shared links for breakout rooms. So for consultations, I request everyone on the platform to click over there. We could have your live consultation. And just one last question, it would be great if Frank you would answer before we move on to Sean, would be, we had a customer who had asked, can they do the program when they're outside the UK, especially focusing on the job offer premium guarantee program? So if you could share an insight into that, that would be great.
Okay, at the moment we're offering the job offer premium guarantee primarily for the UK market, Indian market, and Nigerian market. We won't turn people away if you are outside of these 3 countries, but these are the countries where you will see us if you went on Google, or this is where we are actively promoting those programs. So you can do the job offer premium guarantee from those countries. You can do the job mentoring program from any country in the world. So you will see our ad anywhere. All right. So on the job mentoring program that you can jump on, doesn't matter where you are. The self-paced program is on the platform, is on your mobile phone. So you can sit in your home and do it. So long as you're paying your subscription, you're learning as you go. All right. So you can definitely do that. The one question I want to jump on, I think just on the job offer premium guarantee, please bear in mind, if you're doing the job of premium guarantee, you pay £295 to register yourself on the program.
That amount, that figure allows us to do a psychometric test to evaluate whether you are the type of person that we would like to put with our partners at the end of the program. If you fail that exam, it's a very simple exam. If you fail the exam and we don't take you on the program, £295 will be refunded to you. If you succeed, that £295 is not refundable. And then, of course, you have a fee of £9,975, which is at least 30% cheaper than you will get in a master's degree that does not even give you a job. All right. So if you think that's expensive, that's really up to you. So that's what you pay for the program. The day that you get a job, depending on where you are, whether if you require a work permit from us, you would pay additional £3,000. It's a little bit less than that. If you do not require a work permit from us, you will pay additional £1,500. Just some it's very, very minimal. Your career consultant will explain to you how the job offer premium guarantee works. All right. So it depends whether if you're based outside of the UK or you're based in the UK and you want to be supported. Not everyone wants to live in the UK, but if you do, we have what it takes to support you. There's one interesting question here that I really like, and I want to jump on that. Fosun, if you would permit me here. This is for Omolola, if you're still here. She says, I'm an accountant in my 50s. And you know, I'm change enthusiastic. I love that. I'm really excited to read your story here. And he said, I'm dissatisfied with my job now. All right. I think everything we've talked about here today really fits into the description that you've just shared here, Omolola. And you know, I said before, more than 92% of the people that we've developed over the last decade have been successful, right? And which is why we're glad at what we do. Some of those people were in their 60s. There was a professor from Nigeria who just landed in the UK and he don't care work for a while. A professor who was well into his 60s. You know, he was a professor of geography. You know, I can't forget his story because he asked exactly the same question. We had a Yusuf. We had hundreds of people over the years. 50s, that's nothing. You know, so I think it's all down to you whether you are willing to learn. At 50, I believe that your life commitment is plenty, but you're a change enthusiast. It's hard to drive change if you're not engaged. So I believe that Omolola, you're heavily engaged. So that should really not be so much of a problem at all. The age is not the problem at all. The only thing I would worry about is whether or not you have the bandwidth to commit to the level of intensity and immersiveness that this program will demand of you. If you think you can do it, I will be more than delighted to be your mentor. Who else? There's nothing else here. If there's any other questions, maybe Fosun didn't bring the questions up because he thinks that he's a—
Hello, can I talk, please?
No, sorry, type your questions. Sorry, you better type your questions.
When did you leave? When did you leave that you just—
Okay.
You've got to type your questions. Sorry, it will be rowdy if we let you talk. Just type your questions if you have questions, and type them onto the organizers if they are of a private nature. Someone says, I live in the UK. I'm planning to start a new career. If I spend full time, can I finish the course in 3 months? I think 3 months is a good time to invest, but our recommendation really is if you can push yourself to 6 months, between 3 and 6 months, you may already be in a job. If you're very fast at learning and you really throw yourself into what we give you, I would say the minimum program you should go for is the job mentoring program. Self-paced would probably not get you there. Job offer guarantee will not complete in 3 months. So job mentoring program will be the ideal one. If you can do that, that's great. But I would suggest that you commit to 6 months so that you can have support even while you are on the job. It also depends. Whether you finish in 3 months depends on what background you already come with. Let's say you were already working in project or change or process management, that you already do some things with data, but your career, you just don't have it all together for your career to take off. We can hone you in 3 months to give you the wings that you need to fly into your career. But if you're completely way off, I think 3 months is an overstretch. And I cannot repeat this enough.
The price for the job mentoring program on the 6 months is minimum £2,000 by the 31st of July. So if you want to take advantage of nearly £500 savings, this is your moment.